welcome to Focus on B, the single-part video series where I take a look at a game that I don't necessarily want to let's play, but I sure as hell want to show off, and this is Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed for the PlayStation 1. If you remember, oh my god, what, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, my long-ass retrospective on the classic Need for Speed games, I only looked at the PC version, because this is just its own game. It's a totally different beast. This is a game from that time when, due to either legal reasons or technical restraints primarily, a lot of games would oftentimes end up being released on multiple systems but be completely different. This game was made by a different studio. It was made by the French studio Eden Games, not EA Canada, like the PC version and the rest of the PS1 versions. That's the interesting thing, that the PS1 games were actually made primarily by the original quote-unquote developers, whereas EA Seattle handled the PC games. And so this is a very different kind of game compared to the PC version. The PC Porsche Unleashed, as you probably know, is a... damn it, I don't want to call it a simulator, because that's a little bit, that's jumping the gun a bit. But it's definitely not a simple pick up and play arcade racer. It's challenging as shit. Like, it's a fucking hard game, right? This, not so much. I'm playing on the advanced difficulty, and I'm absolutely whooping ass right now. Like, yes, I am using the best car available for the class, to be fair. The car customization is also practically non-existent here. There's a little bit of tuning, but it's nothing like the PC version. But you know what's interesting? That I've actually, over time, I think I've grown to enjoy this game, this version more. And I think it's just down to the fact that I don't particularly care for handling in racing games that is that difficult. I definitely don't want my handling to be completely numb and brainless, but I don't know, Porsche Unleashed just gets a little much, you know. It's too fucking anxiety inducing, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't want to play it, basically. I love the vibe, I love the music. Oh, I really like this game's soundtrack too. And that's something really interesting that this game does, that for every era, the music changes. Like the music you're listening to right now in the background would be completely different if I had done this race a couple, I guess a couple races ago, you know? It would have been the music that you'd hear for the classic era, with that really cool, like very classic rock kind of sound. Like, it's not even rock, it's more just blues, you know? Very, a lot of dominant chords, a lot of, you know, these minor key movements. Like, it's blues, basically. This is more like kind of pop rock sort of thing, just more pop, and then it goes more in like an electronic direction, as you would expect. I think most of the PC soundtrack, those iconic drum and bass songs, those are still in here, but they only play in very particular, very specific circumstances. And just like the PC version, this game still retains a lot of the same game modes. This is the evolution mode because that's just what I prefer, but it does in fact have, this version does in fact still have the what do you call it, the factory driver mode. It's basically a glorified tutorial mode though, and because of this game's simpler handling, I don't actually find it that necessary, because with that game, it kind of made, the PC version, it kind of made more sense, because it's like, you know, you really have to learn how this works. Here, there's no learning curve. You just jump right in, pick your camera angle that you want to play in. You know, this game runs very smooth for PS1, no matter which camera angle you're using. It's not like some other games where you have to do this, otherwise the game runs like shit. It's like, no, you can play like this just fine, and it's actually scarily detailed. I mean, currently I'm playing at native resolution because that just makes most sense for a PS1 game, but I was just experimenting and I turned up the resolution in the emulator, and man, they've actually, in fact, you know what, fuck it. Let's just show you. This is going to break the immersion a bit, but I need you to see this shit. Look at this. Look, you can see the turbo logo. Look at how crisp and detailed that is. That is amazing. You know, for PlayStation 1. Why would they go out of their way to do that? This game is some of the best looking car models I've seen on the platform. It's absolutely insane. I'm going to go back to native now for the sake of, I don't know, I guess authenticity. I generally try not to tweak settings mid-video like that, but I had to show you that, because that's insane. The fact that they actually went out of their way to make that legible, even though they could have totally not done that. That's the thing, it surprises me, because even though they're working with discs instead of cartridges, they still don't have that much space, meaning that they probably would want to cut down on certain things that you're not going to see. So why did they go ahead and put these like high-res ass textures? I mean, it's kind of stupid, to be honest, to do that. and yet they went ahead and did it anyway. You know, it's amazing. And this game looks great even at native resolution, to be honest. It's totally playable. The differing is, it's an acquired taste, but regardless, we've just beaten this race, and now we're going to see, I'm pretty sure I drove a pretty clean race, so I'm not going to have to, come on, speed it up. There you go. I'm not going to have to repair my car too much, right? I go to repair, yeah, I've only got to repair the brakes, and that's totally fine. That's a good thing. That means I use them plenty. And I do love also how all of the locations speed that up. There you go. I clearly have a very high I care about the immersion in these videos, can't you tell? I actually don't. That's the thing. All I care about is showing the game. Because come on, like, who's actually going to be playing this on a real PS1 right now? Like, really? I mean, okay, there are other ways to play PS1 games on a console, quote-unquote legit, like on PS2 and free, and no, okay, this is not available on the PlayStation Network. This is an old Need for Speed game. I mean, that would be licensing hell to put that shit back on. That would be cool, but, you know, that's not ever gonna happen. Ever. Never gonna happen. And that's okay. I mean, that's what we are for, to keep these games alive in some way. And because they deserve to be kept alive. Because this is a fantastic racing game, you know, for the year 2000. And dare I say, and again, I really like it better than the PC version. It's funny because when I was getting into this era of Need for Speed, I had that, yeah, I'm gonna load a state because I don't want to mess up. Come on, a fucking grid can do rewinds in Forza as well. Anyway, I had this really shitty mentality of, oh well, you know, it's the PS1 version. It's not gonna be as good as the PC version. But you know what? Fuck it. It actually kind of, in this case, I like it better. In fact, I've grown to like Need for Speed High Stakes better on PS1, funnily enough. In fact, I think I like them all better on PS1, other than maybe the second one, because they are identical, and you're gonna want all of the frames per second you can get for a game like that. Even though if you run it at too high of an FPS, the physics kind of break because it is kind of a game from 1997. Fun fact, it also works very well in VirtualBox. Hold on, I had to make sure I was recording properly, and that's why I slowed down a bit. But yeah, this game does genuinely, I'm talking about Need for Speed 2 right now. That game actually works quite well I was thinking just virtual machines in general. Actually, I'm talking specifically about DOSBox X. You can emulate Windows 95 or 98, and it'll actually run quite smooth. It'll crash occasionally, because of course it will, but you know, it's fine. I mainly use it is an emulator, it's a virtual machine, really. I used it primarily to play Jazz Jackrabbit 2. You can totally play that game on PC as well. I think it's still on GOG, which is really surprising to me, considering that, you know, Epic have kind of forgotten about everything in their past. You know, like the Unreal games are gone completely, but I guess Jazz Jackrabbit is still kind of there for them. I don't know. Can you make another one? That'd be cool. I mean, you can just hire any random indie game studio and they could do it, okay? They'll do it for fucking free. I swear to God, like, they'll do it for anything, you know? And you're Epic. Like, you can just go ahead and do that. You don't even have to get a team yourself to do it, you know? It's just, come on, man. Okay, no. I'm not saying that I personally would be crazy for a new Jazz Jackrabbit game. Not necessarily. I guess according to, because, you know, you see videos in your feed, but you don't ever watch them because you know they're going to be trash. Well, I saw this one video, and I'm not claiming that it's trash because I haven't watched it, but it's just like, I don't like to watch the videos I see in my feed, basically. But I saw this one video, it was like, Slav Gaming. And as you would expect, it had a lot of those Slav games. So it had like Counter-Strike, it had the old GTAs, and it also had Jazz Jackrabbit in the thumbnail. That surprised me, because I don't know anyone who played Jazz Jackrabbit here where I live. In fact, platformers really aren't too popular here. Actually, funnily enough, it seems that out of all the Sonic games, for some reason, the one that I've noticed that the most amount of people that I know have played is Sonic Unleashed. Seriously, like, they all know Sonic Unleashed, and they've all played it. And they all kind of liked it, too. Maybe it's because of the, you know, the werehog levels that are kind of God of War, and God of War is cool, and everyone had a copy of God of War here when I was a kid. I even had a copy of God of War on my PSP. I don't really care for God of War anymore, be it the old or the newer ones, but You know, that's because I just don't really care for hack and slash that much. Well, I know it's a little bit more than just hack. Come on, speed this up. I know it's a little more than just hack and slash, but still, how much damage did I do to my car? Ooh, that hurts. You really want to not do that because that really cuts into your bottom line. Because again, like, you're paying for all these repairs, right? Which actually I don't necessarily have as much of a hard-on for that kind of thing as some, because I know some people are very, very particular about, like, oh, I want the game to, you know, make me pay for all these things and have this level of customization, have these things. It's like, yes, I understand that depending on the game. Now, this is a very arcadey kind of game. I don't really see how paying for your car's repairs adds that much to it. I mean, I'm okay with that. I'll do it, absolutely. I'm not gonna use a fucking Game Shark code or something to make it free. I don't even know if that's possible. I haven't checked. Look at that, though. Look at how quickly you stop on a dime here. You know, it's almost like that's what stopping on a dime means, stopping quickly. But yeah, it's just such a different handling model. And, you know, you're probably thinking, this looks kind of like V-Rally. Yes, because the same people who do V-Rally did this as well. Although it makes me wonder why... Yeah, I've always wondered, why were the Need for Speed games never on N64? Some people say that, like, Beetle Adventure Racing was supposed to be a Need for Speed game or something. I don't see it. Like, allegedly it was built on the High Stakes engine or something. No, I don't see it at all. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yes, it was published by EA, for sure. I don't know, maybe I'll have to look into that game's development a little bit more, but it makes me wonder because EA, they definitely favored PS1 because everyone favored PS1 back then. It was just a better system. But it's not like they were strangers to the N64. They had quite a few games on the N64, so it makes me, including really good racing games like Hot Wheels beat Turbo Racing. So it makes me wonder, why did they not do Need for Speed on N64, like, at all? They did Need for Speed on Saturn. You know, the original Need for Speed was first on DOS. No, it was first on 3DO. Then it was on DOS, and then it was on PS1 and Saturn, believe it or not. In fact, there was all these, like, Japanese, only, like, overdriving games, which were really cool. They were basically these love letters to Nissan, which is really interesting to see, you know, because that was, like, a time before the R34, which is, like, a classic, you know, in the time before the R35, which is, fuck me, it's coming up on, like, almost 20 years at this point. That car is... It still feels like a modern, you know, machine, but it's not. It's not modern at all. That's the crazy thing about it. How it's just... You know, I remember, like, when the fucking Dodge Challenger was still a concept, you know? That's so strange. Like a Need for Speed Carbon. You know, I used to consider that car like a bad omen or something because the game would always fucking crash when I used it. You ever have that happen in games where it's like something makes it crash, so you just forever associate that particular aspect of the game with it crashing, so even if you end up getting a different copy of the game that doesn't have that problem or like play a different version, you still kind of don't want to engage with that particular part of the game? It's such a funny thing how it works, but it's true. But yeah, look at those car models. They look fantastic. Look at the little dude inside as well. Look at his face. You can barely even see it, but that's great. But yeah, I don't know, for some reason I've started to really enjoy High Stakes more as well. Not just because it actually kind of looks a little better, to be honest. Not necessarily from a technical standpoint, but I feel like the car models are a little more accurate. But I guess I've just grown to enjoy the slightly more punishing handling. It's definitely not a simulator. Like, High Stakes is still an arcade racer through and through. It's just that it's an arcade racer that doesn't let you just do shit like this. Hold on, let me show you. I've just saved so I can pull this off and not worry about fucking up my car too much. So let's try this. I don't remember what's the handbrake button actually. Hold on. That's the handbrake. Okay, let me try and do that thing that I said you couldn't do. That what I just did, you could not do that in High Stakes on PS1 without fucking dying, you know, or the PC version of this game. Like, just yeah, hitting the e-brake like that is suicide. You know, here I can just go wee, and there you go, take the corner, no problem. In fact, it took me a while to realize, but yeah, Need for Speed Free on PS1 has a system where you want to actually be hitting the handbrake as often as possible because that lets you pull off some really good slides, way better than just double tapping the accelerator. It took me way too long to realize that, though. But yeah, those are just such solid arcade racers, and I'm so glad that the series did well, despite not being quite as famous as something like Gran Turismo at the time, because Gran Turismo was the racing game at the time, and also Mario Kart and Crash Team Racing, and Diddy Kong Racing, they were like the, you know, more arcadey kind of racers of the time. Like, no one else could get close. But the Need for Speed games are pretty fucking good, to be honest, and you know what? I'm probably gonna get shit for really, I don't think anyone has super heated opinions about this, but yeah, someone might get upset. I don't know. I actually really like the test drive games from that time. I actually really like Test Drive 6. It's just so fucking stupid. It has a lot of content, like a lot of cars, a lot of unique cars you don't see in a lot of other games, and a lot of tracks too. They're not quite as pretty as this game's tracks, absolutely not. To be fair, this game came out a year later, but still. But man, that game has a lot of shit to do, and a really cool like betting system and stuff. I seriously, I played the fuck out of that game. Like I don't know how many, like a few months ago. I played through almost all of it, and I really enjoyed it. Using save states, of course, helped with some of the shitty pedestrian, what do you call it, like the traffic AI. Yeah, that was kind of problematic, so good thing I had save states for that. But other than that, though, like the game was actually kind of, it's like cathartic as hell. Like the physics just make no sense, but in like the good kind of no sense, where you just fly all over the place and it's fucking hilarious. Like it's just it's an amazingly fun game. I don't know if it's really all that good of a racing game, but it's really fun. I really do recommend you just try it out. It's basically abandonware. You know, go and download it from wink wink nudge nudge, you know, whenever, wherever. But still, because it's just so funny. You can get it on like PS1, Dreamcast, on PC. What else can you get it on? No, there's no N64 version. What am I talking about? But I swear to God, there was a 4th version of the game, wasn't there? PS1, Dreamcast. There's no Saturn version. No. What else could it be? Maybe, no, maybe there's only 3 versions. Whatever. I play the PS1 version because usually that's like the one that's most, the one that has like the most focus put on it, because it was the most successful system of the time. So naturally, PS1 is gonna be the better option. With a couple exceptions, of course. Like again with Hot Wheels Turbo. Fuck. I want to redo that corner. Of course, with exceptions like Hot Wheels Turbo Racing. In that game, for example, I still firmly believe that the N64 version is the superior option. Although, you know, the PS1 version has the higher quality music, and it has, like, a few more tracks. I don't know, in my head, it's always going to be N64. Is it just because I grew up with that version instead, like, watching people play that one? Maybe. Maybe that's why. But it's also just how much smoother it is. The PS1 generally had a relatively okay time hitting 30, and even currently right now it's hitting 35 FPS, you know? Again, in the let me try the first person camera. 38 FPS, 40 FPS, god damn, you know, that's 41 FPS, that's amazing. Also, what was it? Need for Speed Free, that game could also hit 40 to 45 or so FPS in the first person camera. So yeah, the PS1 is no stranger to, you know, slightly higher than average frame rates. But yeah, I don't know, it's like Hot Wheels Turbo Racing really had some issues with performance. It chugged, like it's a really nice looking game, but it really did chug quite a bit compared to the N64 version. That one only ever chugs in multiplayer, which, I mean, like, of course, yeah, it's multiplayer, what do you expect? Also, because this is a racing game and they're kind of inherently sort of, it's gonna, I feel like I might run out of steam at some point when it comes to what I can talk about, and I'm sure you guys are kind of getting tired already of just looking at this, because it's like, you know, as much as I love racing games, I absolutely adore them, but I never watch Let's Plays of them, ever. Occasionally, maybe I'll put something on as background noise, but for the most part, it's not the kind of series I want to watch a Let's Play of myself, so it kind of wouldn't make sense for me to put you guys through it as well. So I think we're just going to finish up this race and call it an episode. But still, I really do enjoy this game, and I don't want to say I like it more than the PC version, but I really do. It's more fun, it's simpler, it's actually a little bit more stylish. I feel like its sense of style has aged a lot better in a weird way. And again, just fuck it, just to finish off the video, let's crank that resolution, right? Let me show you what I'm talking about. Look at that shit. I'm gonna keep divering on because it's part of the PS1 look. But look at how nice that looks. Maybe I should have done the whole video like that. Doesn't really matter. I mean, it's better than like doing a whole series on this game and deciding halfway through to increase the resolution. But like, look at how nice everything is. That's one issue, though, that actually, no, I think I've genuinely just broken the fucking headlight. I think that's what's happened. Because sometimes they flicker, but no, that's genuinely just broken. Like, that's my fault. I busted it. But yeah, look at that. You can read that text that says turbo effortlessly. That's crystal clear. They didn't have to do that. They could have just made it like a fucking 10 by 10 or 10 by 20 or whatever resolution image, and save a bunch of space because you weren't going to see it. And yet, look, they made it that visible. They made it that clear. Like, this game is almost PS2 quality. In fact, I almost want to say that I feel that late PS1 games look better at higher resolutions than some PS2 games. I know it sounds weird, but it's just a matter of the art direction and just the really bold and bright colors these games had. I don't know. And this is actually coming up on the end of the race. Let's just cross the line.
You've won the race.
Yes, I know I've won the race. So I think I'm just going to call it a day for this. This has been Focus on B, the single-part video series, where I take a look at a game that I definitely wouldn't want to Let's Play, but I still definitely want to do a video on it, and this was a great one. I love Need for Speed Porsche Unleashed. Both versions are really good. I've kind of started to prefer this one, honestly. I mean, I wasn't like super positive about the PC version to begin with in my old video, but now I'm like, yeah, I'm really regretting not giving this one a time of day. Whoa, what is that poppin'? Jesus. But still, yeah, it's a really well-made game, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode of Focus on B.